Welcome to Stargate SG1 for the first time, still not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Aiken, and I'm watching Stargate SG1 for the first time.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I'm watching Stargate SG1 for the 47th time, but for the first time, I'm seeking out all those Star Trek messages. You know the ones that hold up a mirror to society, tell us how to be better human beings to each other, maybe just even giving us a hope for the future.
Brent, I'm very eager for this episode after last week's. I'm pretty sure we're going to end up in the Septagon, seven-sided ring, where Daniel's going to do some battle.
That was your prediction, wasn't it?
Yep. I'm just adding the piece. There's going to be the seven-sided ring because that's a little different. It's a little different. Be fun. Stargate-y kind of thing.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us about Corai?
Yes, well, Corai is episode number 16. For the folks that are playing along at home and watching episodes on, like, say, Amazon or something like that, it's going to be listed as 15, but just a reminder that Children of the Gods was episodes 1 and 2. Original air date for this episode was January 23rd, 1998.
Wow, the last one was Halloween.
Yes.
So it's like 3 months.
Yeah,
wow.
So a little mid-season break there. Not really quite mid-season. It's like 2/3 of a season break.
Showtime season.
Yes. So they had to break for, I guess, all the Christmas movies that we're going to be playing for the next month and a half.
Or something.
Whatever it was. Anyway, today's episode, I want to talk about the director, Mario Azzopardi.
Azzopardi.
Yes. I just bring him up because this is going to be the last SG1 episode that he directs.
Okay.
He has directed a few, and you first saw his work on Children of the Gods.
Really?
Yes, he was our pilot director.
Oh, wow.
He will return for one episode of Stargate Atlantis, which we may or may not watch. I don't know. We haven't decided yet. This episode, Jeff, I've often said, is one of those episodes every sci-fi show does. Mm-hmm. There is a specific episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine from season 1 that this episode is almost beat for beat down the line with.
Okay.
My challenge to you don't know season 1 that well.
I don't. Which
is a shame.
There are a couple great episodes in season 1 of Deep Space Nine. A couple. A
couple, yes. My challenge to you is to try to figure out which episode that was.
Okay.
I will tell you, while I think I am in the minority on this, I tend to like episodes like this.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is a banger of an episode and get excited. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to let you make that decision for yourself. I'm just simply going to say I tend to like episodes like this.
Okay. That's fair.
All right. So, Jeff, with that, let's go ahead and jump into today's episode, Corai. If you're joining us for the very first time right here at Stargate SG1 for the first time, the way this works is Jeff and I are going to go watch that episode right now. It's not like we've already watched it coming in and we're ready to talk about it. Nope. We're going to go watch it right now. Jeff's never seen it. I'm going to go watch it again. And if you're watching along with us on Patreon or on YouTube, you're going to get the reaction video. We're going to do that live right here for you guys. If you want the full unedited reaction, you got to go over to Patreon for that one. That's patreon.com/Babylon5 first, or check the link down below for updated URLs.
If you're listening on an audio podcast, you are hearing some things that you might not have expected. We have dogs in the room with us. We're going to...
Thank you for remembering that.
You're welcome.
About that.
Might hear that, might not hear that, but just so you're aware of it. Mm-hmm. Also, if you're listening...
Just so you're aware, we're aware, and we're just saying it's okay.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
Another reminder, we did record some of these out of sequence, so when we get to the ranking, you're going to hear us talk about Enigma probably.
Yeah.
We already did that one. Now we're doing this one. It's all good. Just know we know. And everything's fine. You don't have to tell us we did it out of order. You don't have to tell us you heard the dogs. We're good. If you're listening on the audio podcast, we appreciate that you're here. We love our listeners. You are going to jump ahead. You are about to go through a time warp.
Through the gate.
You're going to go through the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wormhole. Through time and space.
When you come out on the other side,
we'll meet you there.
We'll meet you there. I'm going to share my first time reactions, and Brent's going to share any of those sci-fi messages he came up with. So let us enter Corai.
Guys, enjoy the future. I hope the weather's nice.
The economy's a little better.
More at peace around the world.
That'd be okay. I could definitely go with that. Stargate, like in the middle of the city.
Yes.
So they had this big old like stone brick building and then like rickshaw farmer's market thing going on here.
Well, you know.
Melding of two worlds.
I have been here before.
What?
I have been here before.
Yes. This world is called Cartago.
Cartago.
What can you tell us about it?
Cartagia is from here.
The
It's
Goa'uld
crazy.
visit here regularly.
Huh? Here you go. You wanted more gold.
Places
Yep.
to harvest hosts for Goa'uld absorption.
Oh, okay.
You know, I wish we wouldn't say harvest. We're talking about human beings.
Right.
So the locals aren't used to friendly visitors.
So really, this is where a lot of the Jaffa come from.
No,
this
the
is weird.
hosts.
All the food
This is
is
okay. So there's
fresh
Jaffa that
from
grow
the
them and the
fire.
hosts that receive them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's no one around.
Yeah.
Whoa! They got like gun slingshots.
Colonel,
Hold your fire.
They probably think we're Goa'ulds.
Daniel, think you could find a language that would communicate to these people that we're human like they are and that we're friendly?
You just did, Jack.
Yeah.
Why should I believe you? That is a weapon.
So that, tell you what,
Who's gonna blink first? Of course, Jack is.
That's actually, I mean, that's a very Picard thing.
Yes.
Somebody's got to lower the weapon first.
Might as well be me.
Yep.
They're just upset because they got those.
Look
stupid
how
hats.
Jack just diffused that whole thing.
Yeah.
He didn't power up on him.
Nope.
He didn't try to abuse his clearly advanced capabilities over these people.
Just met them where they
It was
were at.
it was in his greatest moment of strength, he pulled that whole thing back. That's amazing.
Show vulnerability, and then people can walk through.
Yeah. But see, I wouldn't even say that. Like, he had a confidence in him that things were going to be fine.
you don't know him. He's peaceful.
They really need to do
Tell him
something
you're
about
peaceful, Teal'c.
that. Happens a lot.
I know him. This Jaffa killed my father.
Awkward.
I like Teal'c's just sitting there like,
He's like, well, probably. Like, it's a really good chance.
there's a good chance I did.
Oh, I got to work on my song.
Oh, yeah. Jeff's writing a song for those of you who missed last week's episode. Here you go. Here it starts.
Stargate SG1 with Robert Dean Anderson and Daniel Michael Shanks. It's SG1.
And what if you are mistaken? I do not recognize this Jaffa.
He is the one.
I feel like
Killed my father.
this is
You
a
are
really
right.
racist moment right
Be put
now.
through Corai. We do not take revenge like this, or we are no better than the Jaffa.
That sounds familiar.
Yes.
Last time I heard it was no better than the
Corai will
Goa'uld.
sustain my belief.
Corai will sustain.
But
my-
first, you meet the elders.
Daniel's doing some math.
When the gods come through the Sir Kokona, we scatter in many directions to hide from those who would hurt us. They are overdue to visit us again.
Oh, that means they're going to show up in this episode. It's a great score.
Yeah.
Sounds really good.
Yet?
Yes,
You may go.
just like that.
Wait, we'd like to stay a little while and learn from you. Possibly you can learn from us. I mean, you seem to need help avoiding the Goa'ulds.
You may go now.
Now, she's like, get out.
How many times have they met people who have said,
It's important
let's go?
that we
Yeah,
respect
right?
our elders.
Oh, look, Daniel or Jack learned something.
Dial it up.
Nox Lady is going to be, well, that's next episode. I won't say that.
Excuse me?
For him, there will be Corai.
There will
All
be
right, let me
Corai.
bottom line it for you, okay? You can't have that man.
He is not a man, he's Jaffa.
He's already told you he doesn't know who you are.
You say you don't remember me?
I do not.
Then do you remember this?
So many things he could have pulled out there.
Silk's kind of thinking right now, he's like, there have been so many of you. You can't expect me to remember one. I appreciate, though, you can even see when Apophis ordered that, like, Teal'c, even back then, like, he's got remorse.
Yeah.
He hesitated. He did not want to do that.
You remember me now, do you not?
Don't say a word, Teal'c.
But I must.
That's an order.
As
Don't
your
say
attorney, I
anything.
advise you to not answer that question.
He does not need to say anything. Take him in custody.
Hold it! Jack, that's not the way to handle this.
Let me language them a little bit.
Right.
He is guilty. He must pay for what he has done.
He's
And you've
guilty.
already decided this.
What about your trial?
Yes.
Well, we'll do the trial after we've decided
Well,
that
he's
convicted.
literally an eyewitness.
At least
Like,
untie his
yeah.
hands.
like he's not acting as judge here. He's just.
He's like, this is the
He's like,
dude.
I saw him. I know he did this.
You are welcome to stay.
We will have the Corai.
Gee, thanks.
So what's Corai? You got it?
I don't yet.
Oh, okay.
I think it's an event.
Because to go would disrespect the Bursa. I will not run.
I appreciate he respects the Bursa, but it almost would have been better if he said, I don't know, I'm just saying, maybe. It might have been better if he said, I can't go because he's right, and
Yeah.
I did this.
Yeah.
Jaffa, you killed my father.
Prepare to
His
die.
crime, the punishment is death. I will now lead the Corai.
Objection! You can't be the judge. That's not fair.
Why not?
Teal'c's like, you don't know what you're talking about right now.
Controls proceedings, decides what happens here.
Why is it not fair?
Because you're the son of the victim.
Yes.
That brings
The judge has
justice.
to be impartial.
What does that mean?
Impartiality would require someone who hasn't already formed an opinion about Teal'c's guilt or innocence.
But it's not an
How
opinion.
could there be such a person? Anyone who has a mind has an opinion.
Right?
That's a point.
Yeah, that's a real
Your honors,
valid.
I respectfully request that someone else be in control of this.
Correct.
I would almost respectfully request that someone explains this proceeding to me.
Yes. Explain your
Only
customs.
the person
Explain.
who has suffered understands the pain which has been inflicted. Who else can fairly say what the punishment must be?
So that doesn't mean they have to control the entire.
Well, you
deal.
could.
Right?
Hana will continue.
They got a lot of converging cultures on this planet.
Have you ever faced the crying eyes of a child whose father you have just murdered?
Yes.
Not exactly.
You think about Braytak, is that his name? From a while ago. So Braytak has been sowing these seeds of discontent in Jaffa for a while. So Teal'c comes to maturity and he's working. Every time he has to do these horrible things that Apophis tells him to do, he's got that that little bit of guilt building up inside of him. We saw him when that guilt was a wave that overwashed him, and he came here, but this is pretty this is very powerful. Like, we're watching him face to face with one of those things.
Then you are saying Apophis is responsible for Hanno's father's death.
Yes.
You are wrong, O'Neill. While in the service of Apophis, I did many things.
Yeah.
Can we focus on this one case only for now, please?
This case represents the many.
Well, it shouldn't.
I think Jack's right there.
Yeah.
But I get Teal'c's thing. Like, if by giving justice here, then I can somehow give it to all.
For everyone.
Why are you doing this?
He has extreme guilt.
When I look into Hanno's eyes,
But the fact is, you now work side by side with the man responsible for your wife's fate.
They're
It
getting
was
it.
difficult for me at first. I wanted to hate him, but now I know that it was a different Teal'c that chose Shari.
Was it really?
And I know
Still
if
him.
there were any way for him to help me get my wife back. This
Yes, he's
Teal'c would
grown.
look
He's
last.
changed, but it was still
Even if it
him.
meant giving up his own life.
Apophis ordered me to
Because
slaughter them all.
literally that is the question.
did you?
Are you still responsible?
What did you do?
I turned my weapon on my fellow serpent guards.
When the evil ones come in through the Circacona, we flee in all directions and we disappear.
So only the slow ones
So they
get
catch only the
taken.
slowest among us.
It's
Oh, no, we would never leave anyone behind. We all go, or none of us do.
I think I have something that might help us
By the way, about 100% chance the Gould are going to show up while they're here.
Tell us exactly what happened that day.
And Teal'c will have to stand up for them,
Apophis ordered me to
proving
kill one of the villagers.
that
The
he's
rest
a new
would obey.
man.
Apophis ordered the selection process to be.
Kill one of them.
Hanno's dad's probably the oldest one.
I said kill one of them. If you hesitate, I will kill them all.
I wonder if Apophis suspected this. Like,
Do you think he's asking for him to be the one to be killed? Right there?
I don't know.
Or is he like,
Asking for mercy? I feel like his face betrays his body posture. They don't line up.
Carter and I are going back to Earth for reinforcements.
We're just going to blow these
You're gonna
people
shoot
up.
his way out? No, Daniel.
We're bringing lawyers.
I'm hoping
Lots
we
of
can
them.
Bring back enough firepower.
I've already told you, O'Neill, I will not run.
You're going back with us if I have to knock you out.
Teal'c,
and
you
carry
got to
myself.
understand, when
Got
people
it?
tell us not to help, we don't
Buy
listen.
as much time as you can, Daniel.
have you not been paying attention for the last 15 episodes? We sort of do whatever we
Explain,
want.
sir. First, I need you to mobilize a combat unit ready to go back to that planet ASAP.
Do it.
How about
I like
filling in?
that. Immediately just says yes and then asks for the context. It's a huge amount of trust.
So, by killing that man, you actually saved the lives of the rest of the villagers. You even saved Hanno's life.
How fast could your father move with only one leg?
We
was
all
not
go,
important.
or none of us
As a
go.
member of the clan, he would never be left behind.
So, in other words, your group can only move as fast as its slowest member.
Teal'c was letting the rest of the people escape.
Teal'c, why did you choose Hanno's father?
I saw his injury. I knew that without him, the group could move more quickly, perhaps even evade us the next time we came.
No, I will not hear this. We have defenses that you don't.
Also, Apophis was
Teal'c
right
may
behind
have
him and would have
killed
hand
Hanno's
blasted him.
Right?
But in doing so, he saved you and all of you.
He saved you.
You get saved. You get us saved. You get us saved.
Continued life.
Teal'c is
can help
Oprah.
all of our future. Can you really justify killing him now?
Tomorrow, at midday, we'll die.
It's convenient because tomorrow at morning, we're going to see the Gould.
Exactly. That's when they show up.
As my father did.
At least according to your math on this. So,
Just as they're preparing him to die.
yes. Which would be convenient because that's what the Jaffa and Gould want to see too with Teal'c.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh,
Hey, there you go,
what,
Jeff.
What? Oh my gosh!
It's almost.
I never would have guessed.
Have you seen this episode before?
Yeah, no. It's almost like there's a bit of a pattern in how TV shows are made.
Or just it's how well written shows are done. Like, they wait for this.
Yeah, see? Look. We're fighting them.
Right.
We're not jerks.
I like how just effective the Jafa's armor is.
Yeah, right. Especially against
At
their own
protecting
weapons.
them.
Yeah. Like, it's great against bullets and knives.
Try not to let them see your face in case.
Teal'c.
We saw that dude. Yeah.
From the Nox episode. Yeah.
Oh, the little kid gave him the
did
knife.
he have the gold last time, or was it just drawn on with the black?
I think he had the gold, if I remember right.
Your death will assure my place as first prime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe not so much.
I'm sorry.
I think this whole episode was literally constructed just to get Teal'c shooting people with no shirt on.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of here for it.
Hey, listen.
Good looking dude.
It is okay. Yes.
I must face my sentence. No, Jaffa, you have proven that you are Teal'c.
I mean, look how cut he is.
Yeah.
Like, I like how they put the thing around his waist to not have to do the Jaffa pouch thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
He's going to go ahead and cover this up.
It is midday. I am prepared to accept my punishment.
Teal'c.
I think it's just their way of preventing the larva from, like, escaping.
Popping out.
But practically, we don't have to do the pouch, the rubber, because obviously it's like a rubber chest every time they do it. Right?
Yeah. He's like, we need to show this dude with no shirt on, but also, hey, we could just put this thing on him.
You would save those who wish to kill you?
I would save those who deserve to live.
I made a mistake. My memory was faulty. You are not the same man as he who murdered my father.
We can help you defend yourself.
We would appreciate that.
Like, yes, please.
Yes.
So there's probably a close to about 100% chance Gould are gonna come back and they're gonna be really mad.
Teal'c looks like he's about ready to cry.
Well, he was forgiven.
Yeah.
That feels good.
Yeah.
It feels
It's like
really
he doesn't
good.
know what to do with that idea.
I think the reality is most people don't.
That is very true. All right, Jeff, you've just watched Corai.
I did.
It was not the octagon that you were expecting.
Septagon,
but perhaps a fight nonetheless.
Yeah.
What did you think of Corai?
Well, I'm going to start off, and I said it during the episode, but I want to make sure our audio listeners catch this as well. You challenged me that this is basically a beat-for-beat Season 1 Deep Space Nine episode.
Yes.
And it is of a story type that not everybody likes, but you personally do.
Yep.
I also like this story type.
Yes.
Specifically the one told in the Deep Space Nine episode, Dax.
Yes.
Where jal'Zha is put on trial for a crime they believe Curzon committed.
Yes.
And so here...
And you have to ask the question, is the person before me responsible and the same as the person behind?
Exactly.
Yes.
I like the way they did it with this one. So that in Deep Space Nine, they sci-fi'd the whole thing, right? So... like literally, you had the same symbiote. You had Dax, but you had a different Trill involved in it. Like there was that sci-fi nuance. This was so much more relevant to what is real in our world. Where, hey, yeah, I did some stuff, but I've grown and I've changed. Is that enough? To make up for what I did? What I love about this episode is, like, there's a lot I like about this episode, but I'm going to talk about this. I imagine you might talk about this too, but the real theme in this was the need for forgiveness. Teal'c had overwhelming amounts of grief that he's been suppressing for who knows how long, impacting every part of who he is. He was given an opportunity to basically fess up and own those errors and be held accountable for it all the way to death, and he was there for it.
Yeah.
I want to feel better about the horrible things that I did. The episode goes on and on and on. All this stuff happens, right? I mean, it was a good episode, but what was it? 18 minutes in, I'm like, oh, here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it happened. Like, it's paint by numbers.
Yeah.
But really well done.
Like I said, you've seen this episode before.
Yeah, probably quite a few times.
Yeah.
when Hanno acknowledges that Teal'c has changed.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
It's another Star Trek franchise, but Voyager. Voyager had an episode where effectively 7 of 9 was put on trial for what she did as a Borg. And is 7 of 9 now responsible and the same as the 7 of 9? I mean, same episode.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's just, it's a powerful...
I'm sitting here trying... I know so many shows have done it, and I'm trying to think of which ones they are.
It's a powerful model. It's interesting that we're both kind of wearing Star Trek shirts for this one.
We are.
There's the moment, though, where Hanno acknowledged the growth and the change in Teal'c and basically forgave him. As the episode was ending, you made the comment, like, look, that Teal'c's almost crying. He's so moved by this. There is so much power in forgiving and in being forgiven.
Right.
Loved the model of this. That's all I'm going to say on that. I want to leave space for you on it. I think the other question that it brought up in the same vein is, what is justice? For Hanno, for the Bursa, justice is basically an eye for an eye, right? You know, oh, you killed this guy, so you're going to die too.
Yeah.
Is that justice? Does that restore anything? I'm a huge fan of the concept of restorative justice, where a person is held accountable for what they did, but their punishment, it's not really a punishment, but what they're asked to do to be held accountable fills the space of the gap they created in the community.
Yeah.
So whether it's killing a person or stealing or damaging property, it's actually restoring what they can and all of that.
I would agree. I have long said, and this is not a podcast where we're going to litigate policy and government stuff, but the idea of putting people in prison as punishment is an awful policy. It does nobody, does society, does the victim, and does the perpetrator zero good.
It does bad.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, it actually
objectively.
does the opposite of what we're trying to do. And I would submit, I'm not saying there's not a reason for jail. You can have a holding pen where we got to keep you while we're going through some stuff. But as far as like actual prison, that should be reserved to remove people from society. And basically, once you go, you're removed from society.
That's what you do now.
That's what that should be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we need to figure out a different way to have it as a threat, to have it as something that we just use as basically, we're going to ground you, we're going to put you in timeout, except for the damage that does, not just to the perpetrator, but also to society, to the victim, how it pushes things down the line. It's just awful.
It is.
Anyway, not the place to debate that idea, but...
Well, I'll just tell you, there is no debate. It's what it is. It's wrong to do that, and it's not effective.
Yes.
But this shows what was before that, right? So just not to harp on the issue, but there was a time where punishment for any crime was death, dismemberment, pain. In fact, not too long ago, you and I visited the oldest town in the United States, St. Augustine. In St. Augustine, they have a museum of medieval torture.
Right?
Yeah. You went home with your children, which is good. This was not a place for them. But I visited that museum. And like, it was amazing. These horrifying devices they had.
Yeah.
Like, they had these masks that had pieces of metal that didn't go into the throat, but just went into the mouth enough to be uncomfortable. And if a woman, specifically a woman, was found gossiping in public, she had to wear that mask for a period of time.
Wow.
Oh, you're talking? Wear this mask. And then all these other devices of torture that ultimately lead to killing somebody for transgression. Prison was a humanitarian thing. Hey, we're going to lock them up instead of killing them.
Wow.
But I think that just like killing people played its course, locking people up has also played out.
Yeah.
All right, enough on that. Is this a Teal'c episode?
Yep.
Jeff,
which means it's your favorite episode.
Jeff loves Teal'c episodes.
Yes.
I'm going to stay on the Star Trek vein for a second here. What we saw, especially at the very end of this. So at the end, the Goa'uld came and they attacked, even though they were overdue. And it's so amazing that this is the time they chose to come and do it. They did. Teal'c, gut stabs Shackle. Was that his name?
Yeah.
Shackle, who we saw back in the Nox. takes a shot to save somebody, really shows like he's serious. He's actually a changed person. They're all like around him, like, oh, it's so great. We're good. He stands up, goes to this thing. He's like, all right, give me my sentence, get it done. And they're like, oh my gosh, you would die for the people that he's like, yeah, like I did the thing. So kill me. That is what honor looks like. What it does not look like is the loud bravado that Klingons bring to the table.
Yes.
The other races in Star Trek that are kind of honor bound in different ways that are loud about it.
If I can add to that, the bravado that the Narn bring to their issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where they get big.
I can't do that because I am non. You're gonna die.
Right? Yeah. Just scream, bro.
Yeah.
Just come on.
Like I get it. I appreciate what you're saying, but dude.
Yeah. Come on. I loved that moment. He's standing there, got no shirt on, he's got the ceremonial paint on him, and he's like, now do the thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, God, he's wrong to want to die for this. He is right to want to accept accountability, and I just so appreciated the honor.
Yeah.
That showed. I think there's quite a bit in this episode, but I think that one of the other things that I got out of it that I'll wrap up on. You spoiled this for me early on.
Sorry.
Spoiled, quote unquote.
Yeah.
General Hammond is awesome.
Yeah.
Dude is put in an impossible position.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to go save our guy. Also, we can't go save our guy. So sorry, Jack. This is what's going to happen. And it was amazing. He was patient. He was initially compassionate. And when he did lay it down, he did it in a really kind way. But he was firm.
Also firm. Yeah.
It's awesome. Really good. I really enjoyed this episode.
I have a feeling, Jeff, I know you have at some points begun to expand your Starfleet Leadership Academy podcast, which, by the way, if you guys don't know about Starfleet Leadership Academy, Jeff is wearing the t-shirt, you should go check that out. Leadership lessons from Star Trek and beyond, honestly. I would be shocked if you didn't pull some good General Hammond stuff, even some Jack stuff into that show at some point.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we're 15 episodes in. I'm like, yeah, there you go. There's all this stuff. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I don't know what that's going to mean for the ranking yet. I'm going to try really hard to check that it's a Teal'c episode and not rate it just on that.
Right.
So we'll see how my willpower is. But no, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Did you, Brent? And if you didn't, like last time, I'm going to be very a little shocked. But what kind of sci-fi messages did you pull out of this one?
Well, I mean, like we've said, this is the episode that so many shows do. This is a great episode of sci-fi because this shows what sci-fi can do that procedural drama courtroom stuff can't do. This takes it outside of the realm of humanity and puts it into terms of alien stuff, but it shows us, and we talk about holding up a mirror to society, it shows us exactly where we are. So many themes that you have in here. The big one I think that stretches over it is, are you responsible for your actions of the past, especially if you're acting under orders or from some other source? Is the host of a Goa'uld responsible for the actions that were carried out while the Goa'uld was in control of the body?
Yeah.
And that not everything is always black and white. Like for Hanno, it was, you killed my father. Yes, you did. Okay, now you die. It was a simple black-white issue. When what we discover is that it's actually really nuanced, because here's Teal'c, who is actually trying to save the rest of everybody else. And in order to do that, in order to stop the mass murder and to actually give them a little bit of a heads up next time they come so they can get away, I'm going to take out the slowest and the weakest, which happened to be Hanno's father. So in reality, what looks like a cold, cowardly act of terrorism, really, was actually very much an act of compassion and sort of shadow being on your side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? which certainly goes to that. You have themes of forgiveness, which need to be ran through. I love the juxtaposition, though, of the black and white piece with Jack, when Jack goes back to the SGC. And Hammond comes in, and Jack and Sam are standing there, and Hammond comes in and says, well, are these folks hostile? And Sam kind of goes a little wishy-washy. She's like, well, kind of depends on what your definition of hostile. They treat us with respect. And Jack just jumps in and just goes, they have Teal'c and want to kill him, therefore they're hostile.
Yep.
Let's go.
They've got the desire, they've got the means, they got the motive.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
But it's not that black and white. You know, there was a lot more nuance to that. I think there's a huge piece of this, and this, I mean, God, you just take this right out of Star Trek and drop it in. There's a huge piece of respecting the culture and customs of the place where you are.
Yeah.
To allow the Corai to happen. That it doesn't look like an American court with American justice values.
Totally another advantage of being sci-fi. We get to make up a legal system that a procedure would have to stick to at some level.
Right.
No, we don't have to. We can play with this.
Right. And then we can actually like throw our own ideas up there and challenge them to go, is the idea of innocent until proven guilty a valid answer? Which, yes, I would just like to answer that. I think that is still a good way to be. The idea that your judge should be impartial. You know, I've grown up in the South. There's a big piece of me that has always said, and in some ways, maybe still believes that when somebody commits a crime, the best person to dictate what the punishment should be the victim,
right?
Or the victim's family, right? Like, I get that feeling. Also, the grown-up piece of me says those people are not acting with necessarily their right mind. Hando certainly was not acting with clarity of thought and judgment. There was a lot of emotion into what he was doing.
When you put that into play, and they pointed out in this that it has its roots in Jewish faith, the Talmudic justice. That's revenge.
Yeah.
Hannah wanted revenge, not
exactly
justice. And I think when you can foster a culture of restorative justice, then it makes sense for the victim or the family or whomever not to necessarily render judgment, but to be involved in helping define what that restoration that leads to justice could be. It makes sense.
So I want to boil this all down to what I think it all ultimately comes down to. And it's the idea of, can a person change? Can a person change?
Is it possible?
Is it possible? One of the, I've said this before on our Babylon 5 show, I'll say it here. My daughter, especially my son though too, when he was younger, loved the movie Frozen, right? And they would watch it in the car all the time. It'd play through the speakers of the car. They'd be in the backseat watching the thing. And there is a line in one of the songs, little troll song. My daughter loves this song that I absolutely hate and abhor, because the line says, "We're not saying you can change him, because people don't really change." And that is something that a lot of people believe. I would venture to say a lot of our listeners, if you were to, that's a like, people just don't really change. And I got to tell you, Jeff, that I cannot believe that that is true. I have done some pretty awful things in my life. There are things when I look back and I think of how I regret certain things in my life, and I'm not that person anymore.
Right.
I have to believe in change because I have been changed. You know?
Yeah.
And if change is not possible, then I have not changed. And it's not that I'm not responsible for what I did before in the past, but it also means that I am still that person. And
I think it means also, it says that you're not capable of growth.
Exactly.
You know, a couple thoughts on that. You know, I talk a lot in my leadership work about failure.
Yeah.
And how, you know, and when we think about the things in our lives we've done that we regret, those are failures that we've made, you know, in different contexts. From a work standpoint, I tell people that failure doesn't exist. You did a thing and you got information.
Yeah.
The question is, what are you going to do with that information? I think that same thing applies. I did a thing. It wasn't good. In fact, people got hurt or whatever. That's information.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with that information? Yeah. In my day job, one of the programs that I'm responsible for does a risk assessment, basically a background check for people that have access to the aging, the elderly, people with disabilities, looking at protective services information and criminal history. In the state that I work in, we believe in rehabilitation to a point. And so we don't have many automatic disqualifiers. We get to weigh, does this history make this person appear to be a risk or not? I have countless examples of people who have extensive criminal history.
Yeah.
I mean, quote, bad people who learned from their mistakes, grew, became more effective and qualified people in their field as a result of that, and are now doing amazing things. I mean, I'm talking to the tune of like tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people that my team has been a part of that restoration for them. And it's proven time and again that it's fine and it works.
So when I think about the Chevron rating, how strong is this message? Frankly, this is an episode that I never have had to think about too much. When we first started talking about doing this show in this way, I was like, well, Corai is going to be one of those episodes. Okay, go run through the list of how we say it. Does it hold up a mirror to society and show us how we are? Yeah, absolutely.
Heck
it does.
Yeah.
Does it show us how to be better human beings to each other? To talk about forgiveness and even just the loyalty that Jack shows to Teal'c of like, no, I'm going to do what it takes. And you had a whole discussion about whether or not he should stand down, stand up. He's doing exactly how he's supposed to be. Yeah, I think there's all of that's in there. Does it give us a hope for a better future tomorrow? Does it give us hope that we can be better in the future? Yeah, because it directly goes back to that idea of can people change? Also, is this the point of the episode? Is this why the writers of the episode were writing this episode? Is this what they were trying to say? I think very clearly, yes. All of those things exist. And you know what this episode did that several of the early episodes of SG1 didn't do? Remember Emancipation, a few of these others, they would present a thing and then not talk about it. This one presented a deal, showed you this side of it, showed you that side of it, showed you a third side of it, showed you a fourth side of it, showed you some reasons of why things might happen. They flipped it upside down, looked at it the other way. They thoroughly examined it. Did they answer it at the end? Maybe, maybe not. But I think they definitely left a lot to say, okay, apply this to wherever your life is. I think this is a 5 Chevron episode all the way through. Like it's so replete in this episode, and it's so on purpose and so intentional. I can't go lower than that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. If you could go higher than that, this would be one of the ones that we could make that argument for.
Absolutely. Jeff, how about you? You get to do the ranking. I talk about how strong the message is. You just talk about how good was the episode. How much did you like the episode? And you're going to do that by placing this show in our season 1 ranking of SG1. Now, our top 5 episodes are The Torment of Tantalus, The Nox, Cold Lazarus, Brief Candle, Bloodlines. I'll even continue from there. The Broca Divide, Children of Gods, Enigma, Thor's Hammer, Singularity. Just a reminder, we watched Enigma already. Jeff, where do you place Corai?
So technically this is my ranking, right?
This is Jeff's, well, it's the 100% immutable correct ranking of a first-time watcher. Yes.
According to me.
Jeff Aiken,
okay.
Yes.
That's an important thing because I'm going to do a thing here.
Oh my.
And I love...
Hold on. Just a reminder, he still has Brief Candle and Cold Lazarus way up there, and Enigma and Thor's Hammer is way down there. Okay. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yep. Well, I'm going to rectify a little bit of that.
Oh, yeah?
I got a plan.
Okay.
And I love that this is happening with this episode because I'm going to talk about this and you're not going to know what I'm talking about. And then next week I'm going to talk about a thing and it's not going to, like, nothing's going to connect and it's going to be wild.
Okay.
So the first thing I'm doing is I'm moving Enigma.
Oh, you're moving. You're making multiple changes. I like this.
I've had the opportunity to reflect on Enigma.
Okay.
Since we watched it, see it in a little bit of a different light.
Yep.
And we've watched a couple other episodes since then also, which kind of helped that. I am going to move. It's currently in the number 8 position.
Yes.
It is going to move into the number 3 position.
Wow. So you're going to push Cold Lazarus and Brief Candle both down.
Yes.
Okay.
Which pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Then I would say
that is a correct move.
Okay. The fun thing is,
Mm-hmm.
here's what's fun. Next week, people are going to be like, what do you mean you put it down there? What's wrong with you? But some people won't because they watched this episode.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Right.
I love the timing of this.
Yes.
So where does Corai go?
Yes.
This was a Teal'c episode.
Yes.
I love
your
Teal'c episodes
Yeah.
so much. This taught us a little bit more about the Goa'uld and where they get their hosts. I love when they talk about the Goa'uld. But if I think about the episodes that we've gotten that in recently with Singularity, right? We got a little more on the Goa'uld.
Yeah.
Bloodlines gave us a lot with Teal'c.
Yeah.
So where does this one land for me? Much like you, Brent, I enjoy this story concept quite a bit. So this one, you ready for this?
Yes.
This one's going to drop in as our new number 5.
Wow.
Moving Brief Candle, just above Brief Candle, right below Cold Lazarus.
Yeah. So for me, I would personally have Cold Lazarus and Bloodlines a little lower, but this grouping that you have of Corai, Brief Candle, Broke a Divide, those episodes in my book belong together. I'd probably move Thor's Hammer up a little bit. I'd probably move Children of the Gods up a little bit. But again, Children of the Gods is one of those that I don't want to rewatch a whole lot because it's so massive. I like the individual pieces, right?
Yeah.
But it's still like almost Children of the Gods needs to be like its own little, like, we're just going to set that one over here. Because it was really good.
It's almost, Corai is almost, or not Corai, Children of the Gods is almost, hey, let's watch the movie.
Yeah.
And let's watch Children of the Gods. And let's rank those.
Yes. And now let's watch the show.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really what it is. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, Children of God should be classified as a movie and not so much the episodes. But it is. Anyway.
It feels like
Jeff, I like the changes you've made.
Thanks.
I'm with it. I'm for it. I'm going to let it be.
Thank goodness.
All right. Well, with that is going to wrap up Corai. Next week, we will have watched Enigma. And we will have talked about that.
Ooh,
Jeff,
can I guess what it is?
Would you care to take a guess what Enigma might be about?
I'm not going to.
No?
I would love to sit here and tell you exactly what it is and be like, I got one right.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to cheat.
Well,
like
because,
that.
I mean, spoiler alert for next week. I'm pretty sure you came into Enigma going, I have no idea because it was a mystery.
Yep. It's a mystery in itself. Right? Oh, it's an enigma. Yeah. So I'm not going to guess. I'll just tell you that I'm really looking forward to watching Enigma, as you might be able to discern from what I just did in the ranking.
I'm really looking forward to you guys watching Enigma with us and being able to interact with you guys in our comments section, emails, all that sort of stuff.
Especially when I think it'll be fun when people understand my ranking that came in. Because a theme that we were talking about this as I was leaving the house last night, just so you know, we're putting things into time for you. But I said, this is one of those episodes, Enigma, that is like a 35, 38 minute long episode that they had to stretch into this. And I'm just too old for that stuff. I don't have the patience for it. So.
Right. All right. Well, we'll see exactly what happens next time here on Stargate SG1 for the first time. Jeff, I believe that makes the next episode you're watching an episode called Tin Man.
Oh, you don't give me that yet? I guess you have to give me that.
I did give you that. I gave you that at the end of Enigma.
Did you?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
Was it not Enigma? No.
And then now we're going to look.
Yeah, now I'm going to look. Oh, Solitudes. That's what it was. Solitudes.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
So that's going to be your next episode. But regardless of all of that, thank you guys so much for joining us here on Stargate SG1 for the first time. Please, wherever you're consuming this show, whether you're watching it on Patreon or whether you're on YouTube, whether you're one of our incredible audio podcast listeners, thank you so much for listening. But please do like the show, subscribe, like the episode, leave us a rating and review, leave comments down below. We like to try to read those and respond to those. We're not so tight about spoilers in this as we were with Babylon 5, but still try to keep spoilers to a limit. And please share this video. Share this podcast with a friend, with a family member, someone you love, maybe even someone you hate. Doesn't matter. As long as they need to know what Stargate SG1 is all about, they need to fall in love with it. Join my friend Jeff here, or join me on a searching your soul mission through the whatever it is. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, cannot wait.
Hey, Brent.
Oh my gosh. Yes, Jeff.
I am prepared to accept my punishment for eating the last piece of pizza. I know that I blamed it on your son, but it was actually me.
For crying out loud.